Okay, you ready to sing along with me? You say you want a revolution. Well, hey, you just want to sell your home. So I've been stuck on these Beatle lyrics for a couple of weeks now because the ways to market and sell your home today have been radically revolutionized over the last couple of years. So in this video, I want you to stay to the end because I'm going to show you a way to receive legitimate all-cash offers on your home within days, or if not minutes. The offer will come in, and you can compare that to what I'll call the traditional selling model. And you'll be able to choose in the all cash offer when you want to close, when is a convenient time for you to move, and you'll never have to put your home on the market with the MLS or using an agent and go through all the emotional hassle and physical hassle of having to fix up things and all the things you normally worry about in a traditional selling model. So if this is all interest to you, as I like to say, let's kick off this rodeo right now. Hi folks, Kevin Fagan here. I'm the Mortgage Patriot on your side, nestled here in the hill country of Central Texas, right above San Antonio, serving proud Texans and all you great folks all around the country. So before we get into the material of this, if you hit the like and subscribe below, please, that really helps me and helps you as I bring more and more content in the form of informative YouTube videos. So again, like and subscribe, or call me at 210-317-6514, or better yet, even text me, and I respond. I respond to all your texts, all your calls, all the comments inside the videos themselves. So with that said, let's get into this content. So here's the flow of this video. We're going to first recap the traditional home selling model that we're in currently. Then we'll talk about the emergence of what I call the iBuyers. And then we'll get into the advantages and disadvantages of a traditional selling model versus the iBuyers, versus a cash offer. And then lastly, we'll break it all down as I normally do with an example, in this case, of the net proceeds you would get from a traditional model versus a cash offer. And then, of course, we'll close it out. So let's cover that right now. So to really appreciate where we are now with regard to residential buying and selling of homes, we need to really recap where we've been over the last couple of years in terms of the traditional selling model. Okay, so the traditional selling model from way back from the first caveman agent listing the first cave, the homeowner would engage a real estate agent to assist in selling the home. And yes, there were FSBOs, there were for sale by owners allowed, and still are allowed. You can sell your home by yourself, you can, but usually that doesn't produce a very good outcome, or at least it certainly didn't then. So when you commissioned an agent, they would place all the information of your home on what they called the MLS, what we still call the MLS, a local multiple listing service, that magical MLS. And all that property information was printed monthly on a large paper directory, almost like an old phone book or a Sears catalog, to date myself. And it contained, picture after picture and synopsis after synopsis of each home for sale in that area. But the strategy was to have the agents who were representing buyers physically comb through that directory and look for homes that they thought that their buyers might be interested in. Now, buyers didn't have access to these directories. So unless you stumbled upon a property as a buyer, just driving down the street and saw a sign, you didn't have any idea what properties were on the market. There was no transparency at all. And again, the buyer agent, if they didn't want to show you that house, you didn't know about it. So these were the dark days indeed. So the agents were truly the gatekeepers, and the buyers and sellers had to fully play by the real estate agent and broker rules. That's just the way it was. So the internet, though, as we came around at the start of the century, really changed all this, of course. And as piles of information began to be available to the consumer, really exploded through that portal that we call the internet, it made it harder and harder for the gatekeepers to really control the information flow. And so companies like Zillow popped up and started showing and presenting property information in a very consumer-friendly manner. And when the agents saw this, they were at a great disadvantage all of a sudden because all their information was non-transparent. And so they knew the dam was breaking and their monopoly was coming to an end. And so now, starting, maybe 15 years ago or 10 years ago, the agents started allowing customized websites, or what they call IDX, basically search engines for the consumer, you, either as a buyer or seller or both, to be looking for properties. Again, that wasn't the norm back then. Now you could shop with a customized website to your heart or your wallet's content, and that's by and large where we are now. But even now, as innovations continue to create more and more ways to slice and dice and present property data to the consumer, not much really has been done by way of the prospective home seller's way they can sell their home. So you still have to engage a realtor, sign a listed agreement for either a discounted or a full service commission structure, go through the tremendous hassle of getting your home prepared for the sale, which means, lots of things, which means repairing non-working or fixtures or systems or items like a damaged roof or AC units, so forth. Then you have to do a high level, make-ready cleaning. Then you have to authorize the agent to allow for open houses or random showings where strangers on their timeline, not yours, get to stomp through your house and inspect it and make all the comments that they make. All this comes at an expense to you in terms of time invested, money spent, physical labor expended, emotional turmoil, and ultimately just lots of hassle. Then finally, if you're lucky, the house goes under contract. That's when the real fun begins, because that's when the buyer party does an inspection and they use that 60 some odd page inspection report, to beat you over the head with it and negotiate a second round of seller concessions. And then if you finally look like that the loan is going to be going through, it's going to take another 30, 45 days just for it to close. So that's where we stand today still. Not a very pretty picture. So during this very stressful time, and trust me, it's incredibly stressful, you've got to be doing lots of things, spinning a lot of plates, as it were. You're going to take on that enormous task of packing. Just that alone, of course, drives people to madness. You have to figure out where you're going to be going. You got to figure out whether you're going to be buying or leasing. And if you're going to be leasing, are you going to be moving some of your items into a storage unit or not? Or are you going to take everything with you to your next leasing place, knowing you're going to eventually buy again? Tough decisions to make, of course. You've got to engage with a moving company without even being able to tell them exactly when you're going to be moving. And so you hope that along the way, as you're worried whether the new buyers are going to be actually fulfill their obligation to actually buy the home, you got to figure out, hopefully, if the moving company is going to stay committed and not cancel on you because you've already called them twice to say, we got to push this back another week, or we got to push this back another week. All these things happen all the time. So this all happens in the traditional model. Okay, you say, I get it, Kevin. Where's the revolution? Well, here it is. It's called the iBUYER. These are institutional cash buyers, iBUYERs that we call them. They're corporate entities that are willing to offer you a true all-cash offer for your home, close in a very quick amount of time, and they give you close to market value, but discounted, of course, for things like agent commissions, the condition of the home itself, repairs or upgrades that need to be done. And lastly, the speed of the transaction itself, the assurity and the speed of a quick closing. So prior, though, to the iBUYERs, without these guys existing not that long ago, you were subject to all the vultures out there, what they call the wholesale market. The wholesale market are buyers that know you're under the gun. You got to sell your house quickly. Maybe you've got repairs that you can't fix. And now these guys stand ready in the wings to buy the house for usually around 50% of its market value. And what do they do with it? They really take advantage, of course, of distressed homeowner situations, but they capture the property out of pennies on the dollar kind of thing. And then they assign or they resell the property to an investor. An investor takes the property and they fix it up. They either hold it for rental purposes or they turn around and flip it. You've heard that term, fix and flip. They flip it to the end new buyer. So the iBUYERs take you away. Hopefully they spare you from the wholesale market, and they'll give you a legitimate cash offer like the wholesalers will, but at a much more acceptable price. Let me mention at this point some of the major players, some of these major iBUYERs that work this space. Two of your largest ones that you may know or may not is Opendoor and OfferPad. Now, these are, again, institutional buyers. They buy thousands of homes. I think OfferPad probably buys 10 to 15,000 homes a year. Opendoor might buy 35 to 40,000 homes a year. And they're not the only players, of course, but those are the two bigger ones. Zillow used to be in this space for that matter, but they very ingloriously left as they were losing a lot of money. But these other cash buyers that are coming in to compete with Opendoor and OfferPad really help to make the market more efficient and bring to you better offers overall. because the more buyers are in this space, of course, the more the competition is and the better offers are going to be. And here's some very good news. Rather than you as the seller try to figure out how am I going to try to get offers from all these different institutional buyers who I don't even know who they are, I can provide a consolidated report to you that'll give you multiple cash offers from a slew of all these institutional buyers and present it to you in just one sitting. It's a free service, and obviously it provides, great convenience and great value. I will tell you up front, though, if you're trying to squeeze out the last dime in terms of the highest price, 9 out of 10 times, you're not going to accept the cash offer, because the traditional selling model still, despite all of its problems, will give you the top dollar. So let's look at that side by side. Let's look at the advantages and disadvantages of either seller model or the cash offer model and see which one's right for you. I'm going to go through a quick list of disadvantages that I feel like under the traditional selling model. Now, again, the advantage of the selling model is you're probably going to get the top dollar. But as you go through the disadvantages, you have to weigh, is it going to be worth it? So number one, you have to, of course, contract with a real estate agent. That's going to add to your cost. Not saying that's a bad thing. I am an agent, but just we all know, of course, that full commission is a pretty good chunk of change. Number two, you have to prepare your house for sale. The agents are not going to do this. Sometimes they may help with certain things, but the make-ready effort is going to be on your part, and that's not a small one. Number three, you have to fix all the items that need to be upgraded or replaced. That's very costly, time-consuming, and it wears on you. Number four, you have to vacate your home, of course, for open houses or random showings. Let the strangers stomp through your home, as we mentioned. Not necessarily a fun thing. Number five, prepare for the unknown moving time. You got to engage with a mover, and you don't even know half the time when you'll be moving. Number six, you have to prepare or shop for a new home. Shop for a new home under a contingency offer, meaning you can't put a true offer in on a home if you want to buy the next home until you sell your current home. So your offer has to be contingency based, and that's a very weak offer and usually doesn't even get looked at. Number seven, you have to negotiate, once you do get into contract, as we mentioned, with a second round of negotiations from a buyer that's going to take that inspection report and just beat you on the head with it. So that's a tough thing to try to get around. And lastly, you have to hope upon hope that you're going to close within a certain 30 to 45 day window after it's all said and done. Lots of things going on, none of them are good. Let's look at each of these 8 disadvantages and compare them to the all cash offer world. So number one, engage with a realtor. You don't have to necessarily engage with a real estate agent in a cash offer scenario. I think it helps in my case because I can show you, like I said, a consolidated report that shows you lots of iBuyers at your fingertips comparing all their offers. So that's a big advantage, and it's free, of course. Number two, prepare your home for sale while in the traditional world trying to repair and replace items that need to be fixed. That goes out the window with a cash offer. You can, of course, fix whatever you want in hopes of getting a better offer, but you don't have to. If you don't have the resources at the time or the experience to try to fix things around your house, it doesn't have to be done at all. They'll take your property as is and prepare an offer accordingly. No need now for show-ready or make-ready cleaning efforts. Again, you're just handing this over to a cash buyer. They're buying it as is. And number four, no need for open houses or random showings. You're not going to put this on the MLS. There's not going to be any open houses. You have an offer in hand and no need to have strangers stomp through your property, right? Number five, prepare for an unknown moving time. Well, now you do know when you're going to move. You can get these offers and you can say, well, I want to close in 21 days. I want to close on August the 5th. Pick a date. Usually up to about 90 days, you can pick a time you can close. So this tremendous advantage. Now you can schedule and know exactly when you're going to be moving. Big deal. Another big deal. Number six, shop for a new home with contingency. No, that goes out the window because now if you want to buy another home, your home could close within 14 to 21 days. So any offer you make on a new property, it will not be a contingency. It will be a true offer without the contingency of selling your home because your existing home, once again, is already under contract and will close very quickly with an iBuyer. Tremendous advantage. And that also negates this number 7 problem of negotiating a second round while you're in with a current buyer because they're going to use that inspection report against you. Doesn't happen in the iBuyer world because why? They're buying it as is. They're not going to come in and try to renegotiate the deal. You have the peace of mind that will not happen. And lastly, again, worrying about whether you're going to close within 30, 45 days, you have that knowledge of closing within 14 to even 20 days with the iBuyer. Tremendous advantages all the way through the bill. So let's look at an example. Let's look at the net proceeds from an example of a $300,000 house for sale using the traditional model and an iBUYER. You have a $300,000 house that you've been told that it's worth about that much given the comps in the neighborhood, and you want to sell, but you also want to get a cash offer. So the cash offer comes in before you put it on the MLS, which I highly advise, okay? And it comes in at $260,000. And you're thinking, oh my gosh, what a waste of time. I'm not even going to entertain this. Well, let's look at a couple things. Let's look at the timing of a normal sale and the actual net proceeds you would get from a $300,000 sale. Again, you have to fix this house up. And in a normal environment, 8 to 10-year-old home, or at least you've been living in it for that long, here's some of the normal things you got to do. You got to replace a couple of faucet heads because maybe they're leaking or they're just old. You have to replace or service at least your AC unit, maybe service or replace your water heater. You have to paint some of the rooms again because you thought that Egyptian orange peel color you had a couple years ago was cool. Sorry, it's not cool. You have to repaint some of the rooms. You have to upgrade some of your lighting fixtures, for example. Maybe replace some boarding on your decking that's a little wobbly, or maybe it's got a little, oh my gosh, maybe termite infestation. So lots of things to be done there. That's going to take about 30 days. And in our scenario, let's assume it's going to cost $10,000. So in terms of timing, as opposed to a cash offer that you'll get within 14 to 21 days, it's going to take, on a traditional sale, 30 days to prepare your house for sale with the fix-up. Once it's on the MLS, probably at least another 30 days to get it under contract, and then 30 days at least while you're in the loan transaction itself. So 30, 30, and 30, that's 90 days from start to finish. If you started today, fixing your house up, get it on the MLS, and finally get it sold, funds in your pocket. 90 days on the very early side versus probably 14 to 21 days. Clear advantage by the cash offer. Now let's get into the actual net that you'll be receiving on a $300,000 home versus a $260,000 cash offer. Now, obviously, if you're selling your home for $300,000 and you were lucky enough to get that offer at $300,000, you don't net $300,000. There's costs involved, of course, and let's go through them right now. So on a $300,000 house, 6% agent commissions, that's $18,000. We already mentioned that you spent $10,000 on all the fix-up and upgrading that your property needed just to be able to sell for that $300,000. So we're taking $10,000 now out of that proceeds because you got to pay yourself back, pay off your credit card, whatever you did to initially pay that $10,000. And we're going to assume $3,000 of seller concessions in that price because that's what you're seeing at very least across the market now. In other words, you're going to concede back to the buying party at least $3,000 just to help them get the deal done. That's a very conservative estimate actually right now. And then lastly, you have seller closing costs of about $3,000. So by my math, that $300,000 goes all the way down to a net of $266,000. So wait a minute now, you're looking at an offer of $260,000, a cash offer. It could be closed within 2 to 3 weeks, or you got an offer here, or rather work through all the math of maybe 90 days down the road, maybe you'll get $266,000. How do you value that extra $6,000 from a traditional offer? It may not be valuable to you at all. That's why so many people opt for the cash offer program because of all the advantages we talked about against the traditional. So again, you're going to make top dollar on the traditional sale most of the time. But at the end of the day, the cash offer does provide a slew of benefits that wouldn't be available otherwise. Everyone, of course, is going to value the cash offer differently depending on their own circumstances. So if you're thinking of selling or need to sell very quickly or worried about all the improvement you're going to need to make to get your house ready, all the uncertainty of when it could be sold, the hassle of selling, all those things we've talked about, consider the cash offer and consider me helping you out with the options from all those cash buyers. So let me or someone from my team meet with you and go over these options. There's a QR code hopefully on your screen right now. Click that with your phone. That'll take you to a dedicated site, enter your address, and within minutes to about 48 hours, you'll have a full complement of cash offers at your fingertips. And then I'll go over those with you, including some traditional options you may not even known about to this point, because I haven't mentioned those. I don't want to get this video too long. But I can be a great resource to show you again these cash offers. And I really want to make this experience great for you. I'm Kevin Fagan, the Mortgage Patriot, on your side. Make it a great one, folks. Thank you.